Oh, there is a record to the cloud as well. Record to the cloud. It's better to record on the cloud. Okay, I'm going to tutorial's point again. So yesterday we covered a few topics on how to install Java and how to set the path, how to set the class path. And now we are going in detail and we actually ran the first example, the features, installation, and first program. So this is the first program. So we need to have public static void main. The public static void main is the executable point for any program in Java. So, and yesterday we talked about when we are creating this class, it also gave us a warning saying that you need to create a package as well, right? You need to create a package as well while creating the class, but we didn't create a package right now. And we also seen how to compile and execute a program manually. So when we didn't have an IDE, we compile and execute using command line after setting the path and class path of Java in your operating system. So these are the things that we are. Okay, guys, now I'll explain on how to create a package. What is a package means, right? So now I go here, say new package. So when you right click on the IDE, this is called integrated development environment, right? When you right click here you go there, create new package. You can also create new class. You can also create interface. You can also create different things that you can create in Java, right? So this is, we're trying to create package now. We'll see. So when you're creating a package, you need to follow some standards. So the first thing is component. Sometimes you see that org. So different companies follow different practices. So in that, the first thing is that com and then company name, right? Company name is like Sharp IT, right? Sharp IT. And then product name. If you see Bank of America application, right? They always write the packages like this, com Bank of America dot the particular project name. In that usage of the application. This is how they create the package. So that is com, company name, project name, usage name, right? If I'm going to create one more package for me, like com dot. My company is okay, Sharp IT dot
good one.
Project name.
She's known.
Training.
Beautiful, and you got a great touch with.
Right. Now, in this package, I'm going to create a class. I'll teach you this. I'll tell you guys like why we need to create a package after creating the class. I'll tell you. Okay. Now I'm going to say first example. Right. First example. In create another class in the same package. I want to give the same name. Type already exists. You see the error here? You cannot create same class within the same package. That means basically in your classroom, if there are two Rams, right? You use a last name to say Ram K, Ram Reddy, Ram Kumar, something like that. You differentiate between people using their last name or some unique way of identifying that particular person. Similarly, in Java, we write multiple classes so that you can group those classes into one particular package. That way, you can separate, you can identify, you can qualify the name of the class using package. That's the one thing I wanted to talk about today. Yesterday, we created simple package, with a class without a package. Today, we created a class with a package. But before going to there, I want to talk about Java basics. Again, all this information is already there in tutorials point. You can always read this information online. If you guys have any questions, always call me back and text me. So I'm searching. So we covered an environment setup yesterday, right? We covered the basic syntax. That is a bit slow. Okay. Now we covered the environment setup yesterday. Now today I'm going to cover the basic syntax. So yesterday we talked about an object and a class. What is a class and what is an object? So if you take an example of a classroom, in a classroom, student is a generic word. Student 1 can qualify a particular person who has the student 1 roll number. So each student will be given a roll number, and in a class you might be seeing 100 students, and each student can be qualified as one particular object. But the student can be considered as a class. So that means a blueprint or a template can be called a class. An object is an instance. That means object states and behaviors can change. That means the properties, by changing the properties of an object, you can differentiate. See, if you have a car is a generic term, car is a blueprint or a template. But by changing the make and the model of the car, you can differentiate. Toyota is a make and model is Toyota, Toyota Corolla, Toyota something else. At the same time, name of the student, by changing the name and the roll number, you can always find the difference between the different students. And coming to basic syntax, a class will have properties and methods. A class will have properties and methods. So in this first example here, I'm writing a Java class that has public class name and then public static void main. So you might say, like, why this has to be this way, right? This is a public, why the class has to be written in a way that public class my Java program. So the compilers for this Java program was written. That means, like, whatever you write, when you speak English, right, somebody will understand because they understand the grammar of English. Because I learned English, you learned English, we both are speaking English. Similarly, when you write a program and you're feeding this program into the compiler, that is called Java compiler. But this program will not be understandable to C compiler because the syntax may not work with the C compiler, because C compiler does not understand Java program. But Java program, we feed this to a Java compiler so that the compiler will check for the syntaxes. So it always expects the class keyword in the class. That means it says that this is where you write your code. And it expects public static void main method. The main method is a starting point for execution in your program. Right? So we have already seen the execution of a Java class here. Yesterday we wrote the first example without a package. Now I'm writing a second example with a package. So if I say system.out.println, right, I'm gonna write system.out.println hello world, right? I'm writing hello world here. I'm gonna execute. This run as Java application. Okay, it will say hello world, right? So this is the executable point from this particular class. So if you want to debug and see what's going on here, so this is a system. System is a default class that is given by java.lang.package. So everything in Java comes in a package. That means, earlier Microsoft has DLLs, like they call libraries. So what they do, they create some programs, right? They write .vb files or .net files or .c# files, and then they create a DLL. DLL is nothing but dynamic library linking. So they call DLL. So C++, earlier days, like we used to call libraries. Now that we create uh, projects, in projects can be called as jar files, and then that libraries we call as jars in Java and DLLs in Microsoft. But since we're using Java, we follow this particular names like jar files. Jar files are nothing but libraries, and then libraries will consisting of packages. Packages will have the classes. That means multiple classes can be grouped into a package. Okay, like that java.lang.system. So if you see this particular, you can always, if you have debugger, right now I think this particular IDE doesn't have the debugger. Otherwise you can see all the code in the .class file. But I have IntelliJ. I can show you guys how to debug, how to see the compiled code as well. So if I write system.java, right? So it can find the Java code too. So this is system.java code. They've written this Java code internally so that we are using the functions right away. So they've already written the code, and we are trying to use that code by importing that code in our application. So how are we importing that code in our application is that by using java.lang. Java.lang is the default package where you don't have to import in your programming. In Java, when you're programming in Java, you don't have to import java.lang because it's a default. So all the methods of all the classes that are available in java.lang can be imported default. So that's why you can use system.out. Okay. Now, this is the first program, right? So what are the things that are important for us to learn before you program in Java, right? So you learn how to compile a program and you learn how to execute a program. And after that, what are the rules and regulations that we need to follow while creating a program? So like, it's like a grammar when you're learning alphabets alphabets for English or any other language. What are the things that you learn? Like, how to write small case, how to write uppercase, how to write camel case, and things like that. So whereas Java is can state, that means like whatever you write. So there is a difference between if you declare integer a alpha equal to 10, right? Int equal to 11, right? Now if I print it, don't worry what is int right now, right? If I print alpha, in some languages it's a case sensitive, means you cannot use same character series here. This alpha has 11, this alpha has 10. So if I want to use this one, I can show you this way. Right, Either you can also execute like this, alpha 10, alpha 10. So it's a case sensitive, right? It's case sensitive, and class names, for all class names, first letter should be uppercase. So when you define a class, when you are writing a class, this has to be uppercase. Normally in .NET or Microsoft, they use small, or maybe it starts with underscore, something like that. But here, the preference is always to start with the uppercase letter. And there are method names here. Method names should start with a lowercase. Method names always start with a lowercase. That means, so public static void main is a default method, so it's not written by you. But if you want to define your own method, that's called user-defined methods. What is user-defined method means? That means you are creating method for your purpose. So you're creating some application to perform a plus b whole square formula, then that is your method. When you're writing that method, public void print method, right? Print method, pass. Okay, I don't want to pass by anything. Right now, you guys don't know what is a method means. A method looks like this, right? A method looks like this. And I can perform some operations here. I can operate some, some logic, or I can execute anything here. If I write this method, since this is a public method, I can call from the main method. But right now, I'm going to create a static method. Don't worry about what it is. I'm just telling you how to write a method. Write a method means basically you see two parentheses here and two brackets here. So it starts with public right now, but don't worry what public is. Right now, you know that there is a starting point of execution in Java, and this particular main method will execute print method. Now, how it will execute the print method? So whatever I did here, I can copy and paste here, and then remove these lines from here. Right after that, I'm going to call print method. This is similar to C programming language. C language means like it's a procedural language. So where you have multiple methods written, right? Print after, you can like, you cannot have same method, right? So print after something, I mean, sequential, it can be like 12, 13, right? So now I'm going to call print after. This is called procedure language. Procedure means like you're calling method after method in a different method. There's execution point. From that location, you're going to call the sub methods. So if I call this one, so just learn how to write a program, how to write a class. So for writing a class, the first letter has to be uppercase. I mean, even if you give smaller case, it's not going to complain, but that's not a standard. When somebody sees that you're writing a program with a lowercase letter, they think you don't know Java. Maybe you know Java, but they think maybe you're new to Java, something like that. Okay, so and now that this is how you write a method. Method looks like this. Print. I mean, you can give any name to the method according to your need. If you're adding two parameters, then you call add. If you are subtracting two parameters, call subtract. And it has to be like a business case, so that people can relate to it. Say when they see the method, they can actually identify what kind of operation you're going to do there. Okay. Now, after that, the next point is method names. These are the method names. So method names looks like this. And the program file name, the name of the program file should exactly match the class name. So when I write the class here, I saved the class name as first example.java, right? First example.java. So that's another rule that we need to see. So when you're actually defining a class name, it has to match the file name to the class name. So first example.java is matching with the first example. And the program file name of the program should exactly match the class name. That's what we cover right now. And public static void main. Java program processing starts from a main method, what it is mandatory for every Java program. So without this one, right, if I comment out this one, so control /, if you click, it will automatically comment all the code. This is called comments, right? This is called comments. And when I execute, it will not execute. It will say there is no main method. Must extend. This is not a main, it doesn't have a main method, so you cannot execute. You need to have a main method to execute a Java program. So you need to have a main method to execute a Java program. Okay. Now, what did we cover? So now we have learned how to create a Java class and what are the rules for giving a name to the Java class and what are the methods, how to create a method in a Java class, and then what is the naming for the particular file that you're creating. So it has to match the class name of the class name. It has to match the class name. The file name has to match the class name. After that, identifiers. What are the identifiers? Identifiers are the variables. So Java identifiers also have naming conventions. So when you're creating a name, you need to start either with alphabets, right? So all identifiers should begin with a letter or some kind of currency, character, or an underscore. I mean, you can always start with a lowercase. As like methods they explain, you create a method using underscore. Similarly, you can create a variable with a smaller case letter and follow camel case. Camel case means basically you're gonna declare a variable in case if I'm um, declaring a variable like int uh, flag for check something flag check. I can say flag check equal to 0. So that means this is called camel case. Like this is called camel case. Always start methods and variables. Start with the lowercase. And the variable should have a meaningful name so that when people can understand what it is when they read it. And now, after the first character, identifiers can have any number of characters. Keyword cannot be used as an identifier. There are Java keywords that we'll look into later. But examples of legal identifiers, age, salary, value, something like this. This is a valid variable, but this is not legal to use it because it cannot start with a number. So what they say is like all identifiers should start with a letter A to Z, currency or underscore, not with a number. So don't declare like this. Don't declare like this also. And the keywords, Java keywords, in that we have Java modifiers. Modifiers means like default, public, protected, private. These are some of the keywords that we can use in Java. But just remember the keywords right now, but don't worry if you don't remember. You know, and maybe in 2-3 classes, you remember these words automatically. So right now, just read like, you know, okay, this is what it is. So default, public, protected, private are the access modifiers. These are right now a keyword, means like it's not, you cannot use this word for your purpose. Say, if I want to create a variable, right now I created flag check, right? I cannot say int private equal to 0. Int private equal to 0. So it will give you an error. It will say syntax error on the token private, invalid variable declaration, right? So you cannot, if I say private 1, it will be okay. That means the keywords are nothing but the words that are actually given to us by the application, by the programming, Java program. So that, I mean, Java, JDK, so where you don't use them like a variables. If you have to use them, we have to use for a specific purpose. There is a meaning for it. We'll be looking into that in next sections, final, abstract, strict strict FP. These are another non-access modifiers that are keywords. And we need to understand what are the variables are, what types of the variables are, right? Local variables, class variables, instance variables. These are three. But one by one, we'll go through them. Don't worry about it, right? Local variables and class variables and static variables. The first thing that you need to know right now is that how to create a class. What are the rules for creating a class, right? So the rules for creating a class is that you go to a project. Once you, how to create a project is that new Java project, right? How to create a project is that new Java project, test project. I'm just showing you again like how to create using IDE. Once you know this one, you can do anything with your, when you have free time, you can execute all the examples. Right here, now I come back here, there is a source folder. This means this particular IDE knows that all the code that you write will be written in this particular folder. So I'm going to create new package, right? com dot xyz dot yz xy something one something like that. Once you create the package, now I'm going to create new Java class that will be a second example, right? Second example. And if you want to execute that class, you need a main method. So I'm selecting here so that it will automatically create that method for you. So this one is ready. So I can write my code here so that if I want to execute this one, it will automatically get executed. Now I'm repeating the same thing. You execute it again. That's good, right? So Java has multiple things. Right now, it is a, we need to know what is variable is, what is array is, something like that. But it may be difficult for you guys to understand right away if I talk about arrays and enums, right? So if somebody who has knowledge in C and C++ can understand what these are. If you are new to C and C++, you may, if you don't know any programming language, it may be difficult for you to understand what is a variable is, what is an array is. How many of you doesn't know any programming? How many of you doesn't know any programming?
I know a few programs.
You know programs. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
asking who doesn't know anything.
Oh, okay.
Does everyone knows like Shruti, Preeti, Adu? You guys know what is a variable is?
Like an instance variable.
Instance variable is something. Yes, I got it. But what is a local variable?
Local variable is like which is available for the whole program.
No. Shruti, you are saying something?
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
Yeah, what is local variable? You know what is local variable?
Yeah, actually, like it is declared to override the same variable.
No. Okay,
No.
no problem. I think you guys are very new. So we need to talk about it, right? So, but now you guys know how to create a method.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
So what is the syntax for method? Maybe I can make you presenter if you want to show it to me. How can I make you presenter? You want me to make you presenter, Rizwan, so that you can show me how to create a method?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make you host. Is there a way to present, make you host? Okay. Okay, you are the host now. You can share your screen and show me how you can create create a method.
I don't really know how to make a method, so uh, like I'm not that good at it. So I mean, is it like I can do one thing? I can create it at home and like send you as like a homework or something.
You want to try? You want to try?
Like right now?
Yeah, don't worry.
No,
See, we
I
can
like
work
I don't.
together. I can tell
No,
you. I can teach you.
I mean I don't know like how to create a method.
Okay.
That's okay. Like if you could show me once, like I'll like send you as like a homework or something.
Okay. Did you guys install Eclipse?
Sorry,
Yes,
what
we
did you
did,
say?
sir.
Okay. Did you guys install Eclipse?
Yeah, I have
Hmm?
it.
Yeah, Eclipse. So all of you guys knows how to create a project in Eclipse?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm trusting you guys, right? So I'm not gonna ask you again. So once you create a project, you know how to create a package?
To create a package, go to File, New Class, under the new class, sorry, New Project, then under the project, then Package.
Okay, very good. Okay, now I'm going ahead and I don't want to. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, sir. Yeah.
okay. Now I'm going to declare one variable. Before that, I want to talk about all the keywords in Java, right? What are the keywords? These are the keywords that we have in Java. That means these are having a special meaning. That means you cannot use them for your for creating a user-defined variable, but these are having a special meaning so that you can use them for certain reasons. Okay, keywords are reserved words, may not be used as a constant or a variable or any other identifier names. So, okay, now we created a program earlier. In that program, we created comments, right? These are called comments. So what happens is, if I comment these lines, I'm going to copy this, right? I'm going to copy this and come back to my code here. I'm going to keep it here, right? What's saying is that it's called compilation issue because void is a invalid type variable in main. So we already have a main method. We are copying it again, right? So now I'm going to write system.out.println. It's a simple thing, system.out.println. To print something, we use system.out.println. Hello world, right? Even though we have these many lines here, even though these many lines are available there, when you run this one, it is only executing this one, not these lines. Because anything that is kept like this, or once you type, right, once you type slash and star and then enter, it will give you like this, enter. This can make you like, you can write a lot of comments to your code. These are called comments. These are not executables. Means like these lines, whatever you write in between two forward slashes. This is for multi-line commenting. This is single line commenting. So you can also do multiple things like this. You can see the colors here. This is for single line comment, and this is for multi-line comment. This is for reading purpose, right? If I write some program and I'm leaving the company and somebody is hiring you to replace me, that time when you join the company, you need to know what's going on within the code. That time you go through the code and learn what is there. That time, any comments that I leave on this particular code will be useful for you so that you can understand the program, what is the use of that each method is. Okay? That's what it is. And then output, when you execute, you see the output. So now we are talking about local variables and class variables and static variables. So what is local variable stands for, right? So we have created a public static void main here, right? We have created a public static void main, and we have created a static void print method, a print after method, correct? I'm gonna create one more property here, int instance variable. I'm giving that name because instance variable 10, okay? And this is local. I'm gonna say everything is local. Right, this is local. What is the meaning of local and instance variable? Let me talk about it. So if you declare something inside a method, this particular variable scope is within the method, right? You cannot access this particular variable outside the method, right? Now we need to talk about an instance variable. So I created a class. I know that the public static void main method can execute. It's an executable starting executable point for a Java class. That means if you write a Java program without main method, you cannot execute it. Now I have another static methods, so I can directly call them. But sometimes, and you don't know what is static right now, don't worry about it. What is static, non-static? You don't know. It's okay if you don't know, but you will come to know. Okay. Now if I want to access the variable that is created. So the first example has instance variable, right? Now I need to access this particular variable in the main method to use that variable, right? So what I'm supposed to do is that first example, right? Now I can call the property first example dot instance variable. That is the reason whatever is declared outside the method and inside the class declaration is called instance variable. So as I mentioned, what is a class, right? What is a class and what is an instance? A class is a blueprint or template, contains variables and methods, and it uses methods to access the variables. These are the principles of what is a class, right? Now, what is an instance, right? What is an instance or object? This is another question. So, this is called instance. First example is an instance, and you are using the instance to call the variable, right? So, right now this value is 10, right? Now, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to change the value of this instance to 20. If I execute this one, this is 10 and this is 20. This value is instance variable, and I'm changing the value of the instance variable to 20. Okay. If I take a good example, like student, you'll understand what it is. I'm going to take this class, Java, not Java project. Let me take an example of student. Student is a class. Okay, tell me the properties of a student. What are the properties student can have?
Like student name, student ID, his date of birth, and if needed, the parent's name.
Okay, student name,
And
date
his
of birth,
student name, date of birth, student ID, and his grade, what like in whatever grade he's studying, parent's name.
and roll number.
Like a student ID thing, yeah. Roll number.
And string first name, roll number, right? So this is
Yes.
called a property. So this is called property. All are properties. This is a class. We are actually trying to solve a real world problem, like student application, right? What are the methods that we can perform on the student? The methods that you can perform on the student. Right now, we need to know the first name of the student, right? We need to know the first name of the student because there is a property called first name, last name, date of birth, roll number. So I can write this method: public string get first name returns first name. And okay, so using this method, I'm returning it. Return means this will return a value of this particular property, right? And even if you don't know what is this one, don't worry about it. Okay, you don't even know this one. Right now we are talking about variables. We don't know anything about methods. Okay, first of all, we need to know what is a variable and what is a local variable, what is an instance variable, right? Now you know what is a method. So this is a starting executable point, and I can define any number of methods that I want. Public void marks. Okay, I'm going to take int array of marks.
And better than we can take grade also.
What is it? Grade.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can say string grade. Okay? These are the variables. Now I'm creating a method to find the grade of the student, right? So how to?
A question, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for the marks, why are you defining like as an integer? Like, cause like a marks can be like in 0.5, like in decimal points as well, right?
Good point. Yes. Okay, we'll create double, right? This is an example. I'm just taking the easy one. So why
Okay, sir.
and how we can use a particular class in a real world, right? So I'm trying to explain the how you can use variables within the class. So this is a student class, right? This is a student class, and this property belongs to this student class, and Now I am going to create a student, right? This is called an instance or object of class student. So once you create an instance, right, I can set first name of 1 to Ram. Last name to Kumar. Date of birth, something like this, new date. Right now, I'm not, it will create today's date. Don't worry about it. Right, what is the issue here? Date cannot be resolved to a type. That means we need to import this one. Okay, don't worry about it, but you'll come to know what is it, what date is in future. Okay, student, uh, student roll number. Roll number is 1. Okay, and right now we don't know student grade. Right, we don't know student grade. Like that, I'm gonna create Ram 1, Kumar 1, then we'll get 2. Krishna 1, this will be 3. So we have some compilation issues here. The red mark says duplicate local variable. So change the name of the variable to 1. These basics are very important, okay? You may think this is very easy concept, but when you go to work, when you're designing the code, when you're thinking about how to implement something, you need to plan accordingly so that you need to select a right object for your work, right class for your work. So the difference between student 1, student 2, student 3, right? Student. What is the name of the student here? What is the first name of the student?
Ram.
Okay. What is the first name of the student 1?
Ram 1.
Yes. Now, the difference between each object representing a different person, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So this is the beauty of object-oriented programming. That means using this type of objects, you can actually solve the real-world issues. So how a real-world object can be simulated in programming is this way. In C language, you cannot do this. But C has its own advantage. But in Java or C++, you can simulate the real world object, real world things into a programming concept. You can simulate. So now I have 4 different objects, right? What are the operations that I can do on this particular student? I have marks information. Right now I don't have marks information. So I need to assign marks to students, like why I declared this as an integer or double marks, right? what is an array means. Right now, you know what is a variable is, right? A variable can hold, it's a temporary location for data. That means a first name is a variable, last name is a variable, date of birth is a variable, roll number is a variable. They are holding these values. So if you want to, it's a carrier basically, right? If I want to give a pen to you, I can give a pen physically to you. If I want to give some information to you, I can write it on a paper and give it to you. But in a programming language, if it has to pass some information to another method or some other place, then they have to use certain variables to store the information. So this is what we are using for. So the variables we are using for, they are the temporary data storage purpose in the memory. They hold a data temporarily, right? That means until you use them and throw them, the data is available for you. So you're creating variables within the class and you're assigning values to it. By assigning different value to each parameter, each property of your class, you're creating a different object. Different object means representing a different person, that is student. That's the whole idea behind object-oriented programming concept. The first thing that you learn is class, and then you create an object, and then once you create an object, you assign values to the variables. When you create variables, now we are trying to find out what is local variable, what is instance variable, what is static variable or class level variable. Class level variable, we'll talk about it, but right now, the difference between instance variable and the local variable. If I declare, now I'm trying to find grades, right? I'm trying to find a grades string. Here, I'm going to declare, maybe I should declare grade as integer. That will be easy, right? So I'll declare, and then I'll declare int find grade, int, I'll say 1, 2, 3, something like that. Int grade equal to type is the least that I can put right now, right? So for finding grades, what I'm supposed to calculate, I need to find out the total number of marks, right? So right now the student has no marks, right? Now I know how to use single variable. Now we need to use arrays. But even if you don't understand, don't worry how to use it. Now I have marks here, double marks equal to, in parentheses, I can say 10.0, 12 point, maybe it's a fail marks. So I can say 80.5, 90.1, 93.4, 78.6. I'll put in this like this. Type mismatch cannot. How many subjects are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. 87.5. Okay. So what is the difference between this one and this one? Why we are using these brackets, right? Why we are using these brackets? Let me show you one more thing here. This is double type, right? Don't worry if you don't know. Also, you get a compilation error here. You cannot convert a string to double. Okay. What I'm trying to do is that these are the marks. Even if you think 5 subjects, I can pass these 5 subjects in a temporary variable called marks. Right? This marks can be assigned to student. So now student has marks. if I want to find the grade, I need to pass the all marks of the student. Okay, this may be
Yeah, here you can last like student number 3, roll number 3. It's we can double, right? I think
yeah.
you
So
can
you can
change.
see. So this is a different student. This is a different student. This is a different student. This is a different student.
But your given roll number is the same 3 only.
Okay, let me change it to.
No, already 2 we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. This one we can change. Last one.
So it's 4. Okay.
Yes.
Now, if I want to calculate the grade, right, I can pass these marks like this. Then I'll calculate.
Dimensions.
Right now, I'm going to return grade. So first of all, what you need to understand here is a method. Earlier, what we have seen is this is a void method. Void means it will not give us any value. It will not give us any value. But here we have type int. That means this is actually going to give you some value. Okay. But we are deviating the topic. We'll come to this find grade tomorrow. But today's point is that what is the difference between local variable and instance variable, right? So I declared the property here, and I'm creating an instance of this class and assigning a value to that particular property. So this is called instance, and we are assigning the values to those variables. That's why these are called instance variables. Okay, these are called instance variables, and I declared a variable inside the method, and you cannot access this method outside of this method, right? I declared a variable here. This variable cannot be accessed outside of this main method. So since this particular variable is accessible within the method, this is called local variable. A local variable is visible within the method only, within that particular method where it is declared. But instance variable you can access by creating an instance of that particular variable. Okay, those are the differences. And what is a class level variable? Right? I can declare using a keyword called static, right? Keyword called static. Total number of students, right? Total number, public static int, static total number. So this is called a class level variable because if you want to access this roll number, if I try to print this variable, right, roll number directly, it doesn't know. Cannot make a static reference to non-static roll number. But since I declared this variable as static, I can do that within anywhere, right? This is called a class level variable. Class variable or static variable. Similarly, you can call this one using class name dot total number. Right now, default value for integers. I mean, we didn't get to this point yet. I mean, even if you don't understand, don't worry. Okay, we encountered these points while getting into the details of Java. So we are trying to discuss what is class, what is instance, what is a variable, what are the different types of variables you can see. And you don't know how to write program is also okay. Right now, what you need to know is that how to declare a variable within the class, how to use the variable within the class, how to create an instance of the particular class. These are the important things. And that is the reason I didn't cover this fine grade method. Fine grade method, we may need 2 more classes to get to that level. Okay. And so this is called static class level variable because if you declare a variable within the class as a static, you can access using class name dot the particular variable you can access anywhere. So this is a static method, public static void main, right? Main method is a static method. So static method can access static variables directly without creating an instance. But if I want to use first name, even though that is declared here, you cannot use it because it's an instance variable. We try to do that too. System. I'm trying to access that first name. It says don't refer to it because I'm giving a compilation error. Cannot make a static reference to non-static field first name. Right? I'm getting that error. So I cannot make call. Okay, this method is not a static method, right? We have seen static versus non-static right now. We're seeing static versus non-static. So static method can access a static variables directly. The non-static method, right? Non-static method, I'll print void right now. That means it doesn't have to return anything. It's almost same as this method. But we will understand what is written and what is not returning or void in next classes. The idea is here, if you know that how to write a method, that method will have parentheses and brackets. Now find grade method is here, right? In find grade method. Now I'm trying to access first name, right? It's still saying I'll try to use system dot out into the first name, right? So it is saying what? This is called student dot first name. It is trying to see what will happen. We'll call this find grade method. Krishna, right? So non-static method is able to access the properties of this particular property. But when we go to the object-oriented principles, we'll learn encapsulation and details like that. That time you will find the difference between calling this way and this way, right? Between the static and non-static. Static variables are treated as class-level variables because you can access them anywhere using the object like this. But here you set the value. You set the value as this particular
Say
student,
that again.
right? Hello. Before this one, I want to explain one more point here. Can I be able to call a find grade method here? I cannot call this method.
1742.
Hello? Can you guys hear me? Any questions so far? Maybe it's too much in one day. What do you guys think? If you have any doubts, let me know. Rizwan? Rizwan, you have any questions?
No, sir, I have no questions. I have no questions.
Yadu? Who's Yadu? Is it Naresh? Yadu, you have any questions?
No, sir, I have no questions.
Oh, Yadu means, sorry, I forgot your name.
Oh, yeah, it's okay.
Okay. And Priti and Shruti, you guys have any questions?
Sorry, what did you say?
You have any questions? Any doubts?
Not as per.
Okay. This find grade method, you cannot directly call in the main method. So if you want to call this find grade method, right, you need to create an instance like this and then make that call, right? If I declare a static method, right? If I declare a static method, yes, I can call it. But find grade I cannot call. Cannot make a static reference to non-static. Means a main method is a static method, so it can only make call to a static method. These are rules, like, even if you don't know, this is a rule, like this is a grammar that you need to learn for learning a programming language. A static method can make static calls. That means it can call another static method. It cannot make call to non-static method. If you want to call a non-static method, then you need to create an instance. How to create an instance in Java is class name, object, and equal to new class name. So you got new class name. So I have multiple objects, so you can actually call find grade. Right? You can call the method like this. Right? Find grade static is giving compilation error because cannot make static reference to non-static. So the idea is here, it's not that completely you know how to write this program. The idea is that to find the difference between local variable versus static variable versus instance variable. So if you want to access an instance variable, you have to create an instance to make a call to it. If you want to access a class level variable, because you're declaring that as a static variable, this is called class level variable, right? Class level slash static variable. So these ones can be accessed using a class name or directly with the name, because they're all referred by the class. They're all available to all the methods of all the static methods of the class. If you want to call non-static method, non-static variable within the static method, it's not possible because it will give you a compilation error. So these are the basics that you need to learn, and then we can go to the next step. Okay, so far we talked about object, class, methods, and instance variables, right? So, and these are the rules, right? Access modifiers. What is an array? We can talk about it tomorrow. It may be too much in one day, right? You have so many things to learn, and then tomorrow we can cover the object-oriented principles. So right now, what you guys need to do is that, whatever we covered here, even whether you understand or not understand, follow reading from here, Java home, what it is, and overview. Read completely. Don't read only shortcuts. This material itself, this particular link itself is a shortcut, right? So again, we don't go for shortcuts in this one. And coming to tomorrow's class,